Hope everybody's doing well. So recently I've been working on a project. It's a pet project of mine where we convert LookML over to something that we can import and ingest into Omni. And right now I'm focusing on view files. So I already did something that works pretty decent. It took a little while for me to get it all kind of put together, with a Java application that I wrote, or enclosure, and then Cloud Run and Terraform and GCP and all that stuff. And, that was pretty cool, pretty fun. But I also wanted to see if I could do anything with AI, with these agents and tasks and things like that. I've been reading a lot about that, and sounds like a pretty interesting area that's, gaining a lot of traction, obviously. And, as everybody's saying, this is the year of the agents. So maybe we'll all be out of work at the end of the year. But anyways, so I started looking into CrewAI. There's probably a lot of different ones out there. This is one I was reading about earlier, so I just figured I'd give this one a shot, and we'll try some other ways to do it. But obviously, here's our website. You can go ahead and look at it. And what we're going to do, or what I want to do, is I want to be able to take like these Looker files, like this one's in GitHub. We're going to go ahead and use this one. This is the partner Look in BigQuery. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this because we have our Omni instance already connected up to BigQuery, and this is a public data set. So I'm just going to consume the data from there. But this is stuff Bruce put together a while ago. So I know some of these fields are out of date, like they're not named the same, and some stuff that's just not relevant, but it's not a big deal. So that's what we're going to take. We're going to take this user's file, run it through this Crew workflow, essentially, and output it, and then ingest it into Omni. And we have to do a little bit of cleanup, but it's not a very big deal. And I think this could be a huge time saver instead of people like typing this stuff or cutting and pasting things and trying to change all this stuff. I don't know a ton about Omni, but I know enough to get something basic working. So this is so let's go ahead and start. So first thing I want to do is I need to download that file. So I'm going to go ahead and curl that, download it here, so you can see this is that file. Okay, now I have my project here. I went through all the setup of getting Crew installed in Python and, Poetry and all these virtual environments and all that stuff. So let's just go through the high level here. So you have these agents and you have tasks, okay? And you have this LLM. So I'm using right now the GPT-4o Mini. You can use Ollama, which I was using. This one's kind of big, and I don't have the most powerful machine for it, so it took a very long time to run. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the GPT-4o Mini. Kind of a good balance between cost and speed and functionality. Doesn't cost that much to run these things. But so we set up these agents, and there's a variety of agents that they can kind of do work, and you define these tasks, and then you specify which agents can work on them. Now these agents can have these things called tools to try to do their work. So these are ones that are provided by CrewAI. There's a lot of them out there and growing every day. Like directory read tool, file read tool, as you can see these. And there's a text processor one, and I have one for JSON. It's basically this kind of the same thing as the text processor, but I specify that I want to output to Pydantic AI, or not Pydantic AI, just Pydantic. And then this file writer, which I'm not using. All right, so let's look at the tasks. So you have a number of tasks here, a directory listing, read tasks, read the contents of the files. And what's crazy is these guys this agent will do the directory reading, and it'll pass it on to the file reader, and the file reader knows what to consume, and the directory lister knows what to send it, which is basically a full path to the file. So it's pretty wild stuff. Then I have a variety of little cleanup ones in here and some extraction stuff. So let's go look at those dimensions and measure extract in the tasks here. So if we go look at this guy or gal right here, you can see I just typed this up in English. You give it a description. The more detailed, the better. And then expected output. And then you can say this, like this agent can work on it. So this is like, extract all the dimensions and measures. This is what a dimension is, and this is what a measure is, and they're between these opening and closing brackets. Okay, so I had a variety of these to do a bunch of the work, and then I started moving certain things into Pydantic. So there's a number of these I don't even need to use anymore. So we've got these tasks. Now this one right here is kind of the last one or second to last before we write out to a file. This is the JSON kind of map task. So let's go look at that guy. Right here, I just say, mapping the JSON data to the desired Pydantic output format. And I tell it I want it to output it to this Omni view. Now this is the expected output, but I actually specify right here the output Pydantic to the actual class Omni view here. And this in the Omni view, as you can see over here, it's pretty easy and straightforward right now. But I basically put in all the different fields, and then I do some conversion stuff like aliases if I want to rename columns. And then here's some basic validation where I want to convert yes, no to Booleans and things like that. So I'm going to probably be adding a lot more into there. But I was just doing this to get this basic working. And then I define the crew, give it all the agents and tasks, tell it's kind of sequential, and define that. Then I have the main.py, this some boilerplate stuff here, specify some inputs that I'm going to pass into the crew right here, tell it to kick off, and then it runs, and then assigns the output to this variable. So it's the output of this this last task here, which is going to be a Pydantic model. Let's go back. Let's see. So here's the agents. This is pretty straightforward. Have different processors in here and kind of give them, a role and a goal and things like that. I probably could be a lot more descriptive here, but I'm still learning on this stuff. So, so I think this is interesting here. So like here's the directory lister. I tell it that path, so it knows to go out and list that directory. And then the file reader knows that it takes the file path from here that this processor passes. And, yeah. All right. So once it runs, get the output. It can be like this Pydantic, or it can be like a JSON dictionary. Output it any way you want. And then I just write it out to a file. So I did this because I needed to call this model dump on the Pydantic model, because one of the things is I want to exclude any of the fields that are none, that aren't defined, and I want the aliases to be exported. So that one that I showed you, it's a tier and a measure. Instead of that, I want it to be named bin_boundaries, I think it is. So that's kind of what this stuff does here. All right, so let's go ahead and fire this beast off. Let's just do a little bit of I can do the cost thing as this thing's running. So let's go ahead and fire this off. See here, it's the agent's doing the directory listing. Here does the file reader. So here's the contents of that looker file, and then it's going to go process and run these various steps. Now it just does them in sequential order right now, but you can specify in the task this context and say, hey, run this one like only after like maybe this one's running. So I think there's a way that you could fork all this stuff out and do a lot of different things at the same time, which is pretty much my space, just workflows, data flows. So over here, this is just kind of my usage. It's been very minimal. I'm just kind of goofing around and playing, so I haven't really used that much. $1.30 here that I've been running. And I wanted to just use this because trying to run this thing, this Olama stuff on my laptop, it just takes too long. I'm too impatient for that. I just need a more powerful machine. All right, so now we can see this text processor here is, processing that SQL line to get rid of all these, semicolons here at the end of these lines like this, and all the sequels. So it's done doing that. Deleted all those kind of like new lines. So we got this. And now delete all these table tokens here that Looker uses. So all these will, wherever they were here, these will all be gone in the end because we don't use those in Omni. All right, so that's done. Now it's extracting all the dimensions and measures. And as I've mentioned before, we only care about these dimensions and the measures. We don't care about stuff like this. And additionally, we promote the this name here, or this value for this key, that gets promoted actually up to the key. So we don't specify dimension and then the name. It's actually first name and then dimensions at the top level. So you'll see those in kind of the output when we're all done here. Extract all the dimensions, measures, boom. So you can see there. So we got them, like I said, up here, history, created, all that stuff here. So dimensions, and then we have all the dimensions, and then we'll have all the measures. And now this is running taking the output of that JSON and passing, or actually I think it's a dictionary, it passes to Pydantic, and then it's running through all the different validation rules. So I have a couple validation rules in there. I have the conversion one to convert, as I mentioned, the yes, no's to Booleans, true, false, and then also the alias field mapping. So we want to rename some of the fields. So like the type here for measures is going to be aggregate type. So once that's done, we should be able to start by cutting and pasting into Omni. And like I mentioned, we'll have to do a few cleanups because I know there's column names are missing, or the columns aren't there, like the location, and I think the zip is called postal code. So once this thing runs, it will output that. There's just some, there. So let's go ahead and look at this now. So there's our output. So this looks pretty good so far. So let's go ahead and see what sort of damage we can do. Oops. Go back up here, take this, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'll pull over here is our Omni. And I've already been playing around with this, but I set up like the schema, and then here's just that public data set, and this is the user. So let's go ahead and paste this in here, and I got to do some cleanup. So I got to get rid of this. Move this over there. Okay. And then got to do the same thing with the measures. Now I don't know, but I know I don't know why this caused a problem. This percent total, I'm not a data analyst, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this, and we'll let them worry about it later because that one errors out. So I don't know what the problem is there. So let's go ahead and save these changes. So you see here we've got these columns don't exist, so I know that this one doesn't exist in the table. This one doesn't exist. And let's see, yeah, postal code was actually postal code. So let's change this to this. Change this to here. I think that was it. Oh, decimal 2. That was the other one. I think this is a number 2 mapping. I got to work on the mappings. I haven't done all that stuff. But, we did, change the types to format. So let's save this. Oh, no, I didn't delete that whole thing. Save that. All right. Postal code. It's gotta spell. Save that. All right. So got through the validation, so that's half the problem. So now people can start doing their visualizations or more of the modeling, but I've already kind of done this with like the events too here. So let's go ahead and see if we can make this thing give us some data. Let's go here. And then let's go ahead and look at the age tier by, let's do a count by country, which is kind of cool. Yeah, like it. Maybe let's do it by country and gender. So yeah, there you go. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, this is neat. And I didn't have to write hardly any code. I just have to know some Python, but everybody knows that nowadays, it seems, and just do some research on it. But yeah, I was able to bust this out pretty quickly in like a day. So anyways, got any questions, ping me. Otherwise, Bob's still your uncle. Take care and have a good day. Have a good weekend.